Hi, I'm Katie Uhlmann reporting for Katie Chats at hotDOCS in downtown Toronto. I'm here with ERINNISSE HEUER. How does it feel to have the film that you co-directed, Shoulder the Lion, here at hotDOCS?
hotDOCS is amazing. I have been overwhelmed by really being in such a huge international market. You're in the second largest documentary festival in the world. You're in the largest in North America. And it just reminds you how documentary filmmaking and the documentary community is such a supportive network of people. That it's refreshing and it's beautiful. It's lovely to be here. But on top of that, getting to know the Toronto community and the fact that this festival is within Toronto has been a whole other added extension of excitement, because there's something so thriving, so electric, so excited. I think especially for a film like ours, which has a lot of abstract concepts. People here have very hungry minds and are very excited by exploring through film. So it's only become a kind of rolling thrill of excitement to be like, wow, we are in the right place.
Well, congratulations and welcome. Now, the whole idea of this film, a photographer who loses their sight or a musician who can't hear, what really drew you to this topic initially?
So initially it would be that circumstance where maybe the very core element that defines who you are becomes the very thing that is either taken away or works against you, like the musician who is essentially losing his hearing to this noise. If the very core element of what is the definer of how you understand yourself, your purpose in this world, becomes the absolute negation of almost why you exist, what happens? Who are we? How do we redefine what that is? I wanted to find something that had this sort of dire irony to it. And I really wanted to do it with artists where most adversity films are dealing with sports, Sports has a very natural element of movement to it. It's very cinematic. It's very dynamic. It naturally carries energy. And I was very personally just drawn to the idea of where it is that we harness that energy within ourselves. You even do it as a person, as a sports person. But how could we see that? How could we feel that? How could we understand that momentum that comes first from deep within our own cores and our own beings? And that's where it came to, like, let's go to the artist's process, and then let's have the art really show that transformation or show that energy.
And you did an amazing job at recreating what these artists were going through various techniques, but sound being one of them. And I know you were very involved in the sound in particular. So just tell me a little bit about that process.
So we knew that with making the film, not that we couldn't, but we really chose to not be illustrative. So a typical term in filmmaking is B-roll. You have your person talking, or you have your scene happening, and you cut away to the B-roll that exemplifies the ideas you're talking about, or if it's in a narrative, right? You cut away to the shots that are illustrating the ideas the filmmaker wants to make sure you get. And we said, okay, what if we want to totally trust the audience and not treat anything as B-roll, and we actually want to treat everything in this way that we'll call A-roll, where it is a storytelling element. Let's take the sound. Let's make the sound a storytelling element. So when the words stop, the film as a formal presentation becomes as equal a partner to the words that these people are expressing. This becomes the extension of their own verbal expression of themselves. And much of our interviewing process was actually eliciting the more sensory, the more metaphoric ideas, almost like when something happens to you and you just say, it feels like every time I walk up to a door, the minute I reach for the handle disappears. Like, the idea is just when I'm supposed to be able to walk through, the very mechanism that would let me walk through disappears on me. So if you take that, these ways that we sort of come up with those beautiful ways to articulate how we feel without saying, I feel like I lose every opportunity, or I have no chance, or nobody gives me the opening that I'm looking for. You find these other ways that we are experiencing things psychologically and emotionally. And then we find visual ways to express that. Then all of a sudden, it's not just the story of these three people, but it becomes synonymous experiences that we each individually know for ourselves and have different journeys with. And we can then understand each other. So now we're blurring the line between us and this other person.
Absolutely. And in particular, the sounds of the ringing that the musician suffers in his ears that you recreated, I can still hear it so clearly. It's stuck with me, and I watched the film a few weeks ago. So you walk this fine line between having the audience hear this horrible ringing, but you didn't cross it so that, like, I had to turn it off. Like, it was like, you know what I mean? So how did you pinpoint it to be really difficult to listen to, but then not cross the line of being unable to listen to it?
I think there's that idea of, what exactly is noise. So when you go beyond just the actual experience of how we might categorize noise as being something unpleasant, you realize that it's just sound, and sound, it can have that idea of becoming noise, and that noise is the perspective that we bring to it. So even when we asked Graham, is there an emotional attachment to this? Do you hear noise, and does that noise mean something negative to you? And even the way he talked about it, he said, you know what? It's sort of like we're standing in this field and you hear the wind in the trees. And in this exact location, the wind in the trees, talking right now, it's lovely, it's beautiful, and I welcome that. But when I hear that and I'm in my room and I'm trying to concentrate, it is totally inappropriate. So it's really the context that you're hearing that sound in is what changes it to becoming noise, is what changes it to becoming worrisome, is what and the dominoes go from there. So I really took that idea into, again, eliciting ideas of noise without necessarily being as painful as it is for him, because for him it even changes in the context. So take, for example, if I might share, the sequence with when he's watching the bands and all of that, like breaking down that artifacting in the soundscape as he's listening to his favorite band play on that stage. So you get the idea that he's in the place that makes him the happiest at that moment, but at the same time, it's hurting him. It makes his hearing worse, and it has this artifacting quality that he's always going to have to filter through.
Yeah, absolutely. And where's the best place for us to find out more information on you and the film online?
With the film, we have the website shoulderthelion.com. And there's a subscription list for, getting our newsletters that, we don't overspam or anything like that. Our Facebook is very active. Our Twitter feed is very active. So any updates that happen with the film as far as the distribution, the next festivals, the awards, wherever we're going is primarily on Facebook.com. If you just search for Shoulder the Lion, you'll find us pretty fast.
Well, thank you so much, and congratulations on a very powerful and innovative film.
Thank you. That's really kind.
Thank you. I'm Katie Uhlmann reporting for Katie Chats at hotDOCS in Toronto.